Am I the a-hole for supporting my son and wanting to go non-contact with my soon-to-be ex-wife? So this is a pretty simple one, I'd think. My wife, 39 female, and I, 39 male, are going through an admittedly pretty messy divorce. I thought everything was fine with our relationship until my son, 14 male, told me that he walked in on her cheating on me with our next-door neighbor's son, 20-ish I think, and that it's been going on for a year now. Obviously, I do the expected thing and move out and file for divorce, since she'll probably end up with a house. The thing is, my son wanted to come with me. I made him stay with her till I got a place lined up, but ever since he's been living with me and is refusing to spend time with her or even speak with her. The entire time I've been supportive of this. She's come as far as I'm concerned, and I don't see why I should try to convince him otherwise. Custody came up in the divorce. We're both requesting primary, and when it came to asking my son what he wanted, he said that he didn't want anything to do with my wife. Ever since then, my wife has been plastering all over social media that I've been poisoning him against her, which is causing a lot of other family members and others I know to get on my case about it. While I wouldn't say that I've been poisoning him, I haven't exactly been trying to get him to think better of her, which is what some of my family members and friends are angry at me for doing. My sister especially has been on my case about it. She tells me that I should be telling my son off whenever he expresses how he feels about his mother and that I should be encouraging him to sort things out with her and to see things from her perspective. While I understand that this is something that would help him get some form of a relationship back with her, I honestly don't see how it's my place to do that. My wife cheated on me for a college kid and threw me and our son away for it. I don't get why I should be helping her to get away with this regarding our son and his feelings about the situation. My sister and everyone else I've shared my thoughts with are calling me a major a-hole for it. So I'd like to see if others who don't know either of us agree with them or whether or not it's just a microcosm of our social group and family. So am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. He's old enough to make that decision for himself. You're just supporting and enabling him to make that decision. Just be aware of the influence you have when you talk about her with him. Not the a-hole. OP, what your wife did was hideous and your son witnessed it himself. So you were not poisoning his mind. His mom did that all by herself. But your child definitely needs therapy, and I think it would help you too to get into therapy yourself. As for the family members who are blaming you, tell them to mind their business or you will cut contact with them too. I personally am not in favor of social media's smear campaigns as it does more harm than good and can easily get out of hand. So block and ignore your ex. Other than that, try your best to get full custody of your son and don't pressure your son to start having a relationship with his mom again. He can do that if he wants to down the road. I will say this though, before the exodus, I definitely hit one of her posts up complaining about Opie poisoning her son against her with a... Well, actually, Opie's wife was caught by son smashing 20-year-old neighbor and then came to his own conclusion about the value of his mother and then screenshot. Post to Reddit for karma and wait for her to block you while having the solace that 50% of the people that interacted with that post now knows the facts. Oh, and not the a-hole. Not the a-hole. I'm sorry your wife did that to you. But I'm 100 in supporting of kids deciding whether they want to put themselves in that situation. So long as you make sure your son knows you would facilitate any contact he wants with the ex-wife in the future, you're doing the best for him. Obviously, don't talk bad about her to him, etc. But he's old enough now to make decisions, and if he doesn't want contact, I think it's fair to respect that. For context, my 14-year-old just moved back to me after 5 years with her dad. In that time, she was mistreated, gaslighted, poisoned against me, and I had no contact with her. Eventually, she came to see me and saw how much she'd lied to her and how bad things were there. She's now with me and under police advisory to not talk to him or have anything to do with her dad. And I've been advised from professionals that you shouldn't and can't really ever force a child to have contact with a parent or to not contact them. It only serves to damage them emotionally in the long run. Trust your son. He needs to heal from this too. Continue to be supportive to him at any future relationship with his mom and you'll be okay. I felt like I was reading a post made by my family member because I'm experiencing the exact same situation from your son's point of view. Not the a-hole. He's old enough to form his own opinions and make up his mind. My advice would be to not discuss it unless he wants to talk about the situation, because if you continuously bring it up, your family members and ex-wife will claim to be justified in you poisoning him. Similar with me, though I discovered my dad was cheating when I was 21, so I was in college and not living at home full-time, and got married less than a year later and moved out permanently. My mom constantly, even 4 years later after their divorce has been finalized, complains about my dad to me, and it's very hard to deal with. And every time I tell her I don't want to talk about it, she gets upset with me. I still love my dad as my dad, so it's hard to hear her complaints. I think it's important for the dad in this situation to do his best not to poison his son's opinion of his mom because while she was awful in cheating and OP, she is still his son's mom. A person can be an awful partner and still a good parent, and therapy should definitely be required. But in the end, it's still the son's decision, and I don't blame him for being betrayed by his mother and not wanting to see her. Not the a-hole. Next story is titled, Am I the a-hole for refusing to see my dad because of my stepmother's racist comments? I'm 16 female and half white, half Chinese. My parents have been split up for a while, so I'm mostly over it. They're a lot happier without each other, so while it sucked, it's fine. It's weird sometimes when I'm with my dad, people assume I'm adopted, but usually he's good at correcting people, except for my stepmom. I really did try to like her in the beginning, but she's kind of racist. The first time I met her, she wouldn't stop touching and commenting on my hair and how I looked like a K-pop star. It just got worse the longer they were together. She would do things like tell people she was my tiger mom, and make comments about my body type and plastic surgery. And when she moved in, she had my dad ask me to only speak English in the house and watch English shows because it made her uncomfortable if she couldn't understand what was being said. When they got married, she kinda sneakily left me out of the wedding photos. And when I asked why, she said she wanted a certain aesthetic, which I guess is a nice way of saying white. I've talked to my dad about it a lot and he says he'll talk to her, but he never does. And also that she just doesn't have a lot of familiarity with Asian people. So I have to be patient with her because she's learning. My mom and stepdad were really angry about how she treats me, but they can't exactly do anything about my stepmom. So they just said that if I ever feel like I need to leave, I can call either of them at any time and they'll come get me. It really hit the fan a couple of weeks ago. My stepmom is pregnant and had her baby shower, and I heard her make a comment about how I don't look very much like my dad. So now he'll also have a kid that resembles him, and I just couldn't take it anymore. I called my mom to come pick me up and left. My dad called me a few hours later and I told him what his wife said, and he said he would talk to her, but I told him he always says that and nothing changes. So I'm not coming over to his house anymore, and maybe he should stick with his white family. Stepmother texted me to apologize, but I told her it wasn't accepted and I don't want to talk to her anymore. My mom and stepdad and my grandparents on the side support me, but my dad is really upset, and my grandparents on my dad's side are really mad at me, and people have been telling me that even if my stepmom is being a pill, I shouldn't write off my dad because he's not the one doing it. I love my dad, but I just don't want to see his wife again. And if that means I don't see my dad too because he won't stand up to her, maybe that's how it needs to be. Not the a-hole. Your racist stepmom is, and so is your racist dad. Your dad supporting her beliefs make him racist too? You don't deserve to be treated like that just because you don't meet their aesthetic. I know, right? That's messed up. Opie's future sibling will probably ask in the future, why is Opie not in the wedding pictures? Opie's stepmom be like, because she's not part of the aesthetics. WTF? You mean because she's not white, really? That's what it is. Not the a-hole. Cut these people from your life completely. If your father does nothing to stop the stepmother, he condones it. He married her knowing her views, which makes him racist. He married her knowing she was awful to his daughter, which makes him a failure as a father. Opie needs to keep herself emotionally safe from her loser bigot dad. Next story. Am I the a-hole for telling my significant other that his daughter cannot come over to our new house until we meet up again? Me, 26 female, and my significant other, 32 male, have been together for 5 years, and he has 2 children with his ex Anna, 31 female. They have Leo, 8 male, and Leah, 14 female together. Me and my significant other decided to wait until we were dating for 1 year for me to meet his children. We met up for lunch at a local restaurant, and while Leo liked me, Leia didn't speak a word. I assumed she was not ready to warm up to me just yet. After that, we scaled back to brief video calls where she wouldn't say anything. This went on for another 6 months, and then me and my significant other moved in together. Leo came every other week for visits for the first month, and Leia never came. She told significant other she didn't want to be around me, so she wasn't going to come for visitation. So my significant other did visitation at his sister's house. This worked out okay. It was just awkward because the sister lives 5 minutes away from our old apartment, and the kids lived 20 minutes away from us. So it was a lot of driving back and forth. This has been the arrangement for years. The entire time, I've been inviting Leia out through my significant other with us to get to know her better. We go out at least 4 to 5 times per month and do various activities. Parks, museums, zoo, malls, go-karts, restaurants, everything. Leo tags along sometimes, but Leia's never come. March 1st, I closed on my dream apartment. 3 beds, 2.5 baths, study, huge balcony. It's gorgeous. We've moved in and I'm so excited to start making our home here. I posted a video on social media and Anna's seen it and showed Leia. Anna blew up my significant other's phone asking him when he was going to tell Leia that he moved. He did tell Leia, and she said, "Oh, okay." After Leia seen our new home, she asked significant other when she would be able to come over and decorate her new room. I told him under no circumstances will Leia be allowed into her new room until she agrees to meet us outside for an outing. I love her because she's my partner's daughter, but I don't know her. I've only ever heard her voice in videos she posts to social media. She has never spoken a word to me. My significant other is incredibly sad because he just wants his daughter to visit him again, but he agrees with me. Anna and Leia obviously disagree, and so does my in-laws. Am I the a-hole? Now for the comments. Everyone sucks here. For the past 5 years, everybody has agreed to let a child, she was 9 at the beginning, decide if/when/where she wanted to see her father. Also, if you bought that apartment with your significant other, his daughter has every right to come whenever she wants, as it is also her home. The adults need to do better by that child. I actually agree with this. My significant other has allowed the situation to drag out for 4 years, and it's unfair to all of us. He allowed a child to dictate the terms of their relationship. 4 years of family events where he had to exclude me because she wouldn't come if I was there. 4 years of living a double life to keep us separated. I purchased that apartment with my own money. I made sure to include a private bedroom for her when she was ready to come around. I'm assuming she's ready now, but she is saying she absolutely does not want to go out for dinner or an activity. She just wants to decorate and start coming over. She wants a relationship with her father, not with you. That's her right. The more you're going to push, the more she's going to run. Is it going to suck for you? Yes, but you made a choice to move in with him knowing he had a daughter who wanted nothing to do with you. You either accept that or tell your significant other to find another place to live. Cool, that's her right. She can have that relationship at his sister's then because her apartment isn't his apartment. It has got no right to demand a room for the kid. Yep, the bio parents have had 5 years to establish a relationship and set boundaries that would let Opie get to know the 14-year-old at least enough that the 14-year-old would already have their space in the apartment. The 14-year-old made her choice, and now she's learning that what she does or doesn't do may have unforeseen consequences. Opie has every right not to have a stranger in her home. All she's asking for is an outing to get to know the girl. Now for the last story. Am I the a-hole for how I'm treating my daughter? My daughter, 32 female, and I, 69 female, are very close. We used to live in the southern part of the US. I divorced her father when she was 13, and then she made a decision to cut him out of her life. So it's pretty much been just the two of us ever since. About 9 years ago, she chose to move up to the East Coast to look for work after her college graduation. I was supportive and happy when she found something. About 5 years ago, my mom died, so I had no family left in the South. I wanted to move, and it was either move to the East Coast to be near my daughter or move out west to be near my brother and his partner. My daughter said, "If you want to move up here, I'm fine with it. But don't do it just for me, because I'm not attached to this area, so who knows if I'll stay." I said I understood, but decided to move there anyway. I purchased a condo in the same town and have lived here ever since. About 2 years ago, my daughter needed to move out of her apartment because of some issues with her neighbors, and it just so happened that the condo next door to mine became available to rent. The rent was too good for her to pass up, so she moved in. I love that we live so close. Anyway, about 8 months ago, she started dating a man from a town about an hour away. They are planning on her moving in with him, since he owns his house, which means she will be about an hour away from me. I'm happy for her, and I like her boyfriend, but I'm not going to lie that I'm a little sad about her moving. Anyway, for the last few months, she has become very short with me on a lot of topics. Like, I ask her if her boyfriend is okay with the state of cleanliness that her condo is. I don't think she cleans it well enough. It will be fine with his home being like that. She just blankly stares at me and bluntly says, "Yes, he's been to my place and knows what it looks like." Or when I ask if she was going to start making herself look pretty for the day once she has him around all the time. She works from home and he does for part of the week too. She, again, just stared at me and bluntly said, "He knows what I look like, so I'm fine." The other issue is that his parents live in the same town as him and the two of them see them all of the time for dinners and such, a lot more than they see me. I guess some of my jealousy shows in my face, because she has commented on it several times, but I just act like everything is fine. All in all, she's making me feel like I'm treating her badly recently, but being so short with me, and I'm afraid that I'm not ever going to see her after she moves. Am I the a-hole? You're the a-hole. I don't know if this is specifically a southern thing or if it extends to more cultures, but comments like you're making to your daughter made me incredibly insecure. If I didn't clean enough, I wasn't lovable. If I didn't do my makeup, I wasn't pretty. So my natural face wasn't pretty. You're making these comments to make her feel less secure in her relationship. Whether you're doing it consciously or not, the result is the same. You are undermining her self-confidence. And yes, you're probably going to lose your close bond. No one wants to be around someone who makes them feel self-conscious. No one wants to be around someone who makes them feel unlovable. Texan here. When I was in college, my boyfriend and I evacuated to my grandparents' ranch following a hurricane. I was an evacuee. I was on a ranch. I wasn't wearing makeup or dressing up, but that's not any different from any other time on the ranch. My granny told me I had let myself go, presumably because the boyfriend would see me at my worst since it was never a problem prior. Ranch kid here. Well, it's a good thing she can cook. Said at the end of a muddy, bloody day of me working cattle. Thanks, Pops. You just undermined pretty much all of the fears and dependence you instilled in me. All for a laugh from the menfolk. Am I the a-hole? My 47 male son, 28 male, cheated on his pregnant wife, 25 female, and now I'd rather support her than him. My wife, 48 female, and I, 48 male, have 3 kids, and this one is the oldest. Admittedly, we made some mistakes with him. He was unplanned, and we had him very young. We were both balancing school and work, and he was always troubled. I thought we had done some work, mended some bridges, and that he had moved on from the issues of his younger days. When he got married, my wife and I were so happy. We thought she was wonderful and that she brought out the best in him. When they told us earlier this year that she was pregnant, we were thrilled. I couldn't wait to be a grandpa. Well, the pregnancy is now at risk, and my daughter-in-law had to go on bed rest. She can barely get out of bed at all, and my wife, our 2 daughters, 21 female and 17 female, and I have been doing our best to help her, since she doesn't really have anyone else. With her bedridden, we really thought this was my son's chance to step up. Well, he didn't. A few weeks ago, daughter-in-law called my wife and she was really upset. We were worried something was wrong with her pregnancy and rushed over. Well, she showed us his tablet. It was connected to his WhatsApp, and he had some very, very explicit conversations with another woman. Not only that, but he was talking crap about his wife, saying she was faking her pregnancy complications, that only the other woman understood him, and that she was sexy compared to his bloated wife with her stretch marks, and how he would totally leave his wife for this woman once the baby came, and he made sure it wasn't his. He called his wife entitled and complained that she expected him to wait on her hand and foot. He also said that we were giving him the stink eye and lecturing him all the time. So not only did he start spending more time out of the house, leaving us to care for his wife, but he actually went out and cheated on her and then badmouthed her with us while doing it. Again, he cheated on his pregnant, bedridden wife instead of taking care of her. I'm getting angry even typing this. We helped our daughter-in-law pack a bag and brought her to our house. We decided to wait for him to check on her, except he never did. For 2 days, she stayed at our house. My wife took a day off work and my youngest stayed home from school. They've been supporting her as best they can. When 2 days passed and he still hadn't checked in, I went over to his apartment, where I found him just chilling, playing his PS5. I went ballistic. I told him I couldn't believe what a piece of trash I had raised, and that this was no way to treat his family. He just shrugged and said we've always treated him like trash anyway, so this was all our fault, and that his wife was cheating on him first. I asked how he knew that and if he had any proof. He said something ridiculous about her not wanting to quit her job, plus some guy from work looking at her funny at a work event. He insisted there couldn't possibly be any reason for her not to quit her job unless she was cheating. So why should he care about her? I told him those were freaking excuses, and if he really believed that, he wouldn't be pawning off taking care of her onto us. He said it was completely justified because we always treated him like crap and that he didn't owe us explanations. I told him to get screwed, and things got even more heated. It ended with me smashing his PS5 against the wall and him kicking the side mirror of my car as I was driving off. By the time I got home, my wife was crying because he had already called her up, yelled at her, and accused us of kidnapping his wife. He was also demanding that we pay for his PS5, which is insane because we bought it for him 2 years ago for his birthday. My wife was very distraught and it took me a long time to calm her down. The next day, my mother called me because my son had reached out to her. She started admonishing me for not standing up for my son, throwing the whole blood is thicker than water line at me. I told her she could get lost because of our own drama from my childhood. She has no right to call me out, but it's nothing new for her to justify and excuse horrible behavior, like she did with my dad and stepdad. She echoed my son's accusations, and I told her that was rich coming from her. Because her cheating and my dad's cheating are exactly why I know how much damage it can cause to a family. She told me it was in the past. I reiterated that she could get lost because it's literally happening right now. My son is cheating on his wife, and she's giving me grief for it and excusing his behavior. She kept arguing until I got frustrated and hung up. In the weeks since, my daughter-in-law has been inconsolable. She's been staying with us, and my wife, my youngest daughter, and I have been doing our best to support her. We sit with her, watch TV, talk, and have family meals. But she's clearly devastated. My son has been sending her threats, saying she'll end up alone, unloved, and a single mom if she doesn't come back. It got so bad we told her to block him. When he tried that nonsense with my wife, she told him that the way he was acting, he was the one who would end up alone. We told daughter-in-law we'll stick with her no matter what. As far as we're concerned, she's family, and we love her. She seems grateful but understandably sad. Meanwhile, my son has been pestering us and getting more aggressive until we all just blocked him. My mom keeps bringing up the blood is thicker than water BS. But you know what? F that. Maybe we weren't the best parents to my son. We left him with my mom a lot while we worked and went to school, and maybe he felt neglected. That's probably why he acted out as a kid. But I still can't excuse treating the woman he supposedly loved this way, making up lies about her, and refusing to apologize or make amends. So, to hell with blood. I choose the daughter-in-law who has been nothing but loving and wonderful to all of us and needs us now, over the son who's turned into the worst kind of adult. I said it. My son is a piece of turd, and I think I might hate him. Maybe it's my fault. Maybe I should have been a different parent when he was a child. But this is how things are right now, and I want nothing to do with him. Here I am, looking for validation online. Am I the a-hole? Does my mom have a point? Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. Your son is just looking for excuses not to be a father. This, regardless of what happened when he was a child, he's an adult now and responsible for his actions. He's just making excuses for acting like a toddler having a tantrum. Stick with your daughter-in-law and grandchild. Go no contact with your mother and son. Leave them to each other. Your anger is justified. Your son's behavior is appalling, and your loyalty to your daughter-in-law is commendable. While no parent is perfect, you've done your best, and now you're protecting someone who truly needs support. Blood doesn't excuse bad behavior, and prioritizing your daughter-in-law's well-being over your son's actions is the right call. You're not in the wrong. At this point, my response would be, what is the best possible situation for my future grandchild? And what do I need to do to make sure that child is secure, loved, and supported? His mother keeps saying blood is thicker than water, and yet daughter-in-law is literally carrying his grandchild. I say protect the daughter-in-law and grandchild at all costs, and that innocent child must be the priority now. The son can go kick rocks. He sounds a lot like my oldest brother who always blames my parents for all his bad choices. Meanwhile, my other two siblings and I have the exact same parents as him, yet we were able to rise above it. Not the a-hole. I'm sorry your son turned out the way he has. Maybe you and your wife did make some mistakes when raising him, but he's an adult now, and he's responsible for his own a-holery. He sounds like a horrible human being, and until he reforms, if he ever does, which is doubtful, all of you deserves the peace his absence from your lives will bring. Next story. Am I the a-hole for exposing my dad and his wife in therapy and airing their dirty laundry to the therapist? My dad and his wife put the step family in family therapy after my dad's youngest stepkid, 10, ran away back in June. The push for family therapy instead of individual therapy was because my dad's other stepkids, 16 and 15, were more upset when their half-brother was found, and my brother, 14, and I, 17, weren't all over the youngest when he was found, promising would be better siblings and all that. Let me break down the family history and the dirty laundry I aired. To start with my dad's wife. She was married, had an affair, and her youngest turned out not to be her ex-husband's. When her ex found out, her youngest was already born, and he ended their marriage and fought to remove any parental responsibility for her youngest. Apparently, he knew the real dad or something, and it got messy. Her two kids knew what happened, and resented and hated the youngest for it. My dad's wife hates her ex for doing what he did, and she had some legal issues with the biological dad of her youngest. He's in prison now, and it's a whole mess. She knows her older kids hate the youngest, and she tries to encourage them to have a better relationship. But her older two wish the youngest had died a long time ago. They blame him and their mom for the family falling apart. Her ex-husband has the older two 50% of the time. Then there's the three of us. My mom ended herself when I was 7 and my brother was 4. My mom had a terrible childhood and was abused by 3 adult members of her family. She and my dad told me a very PG version of it when she was alive, and I had asked why she had no family. When I look back on her life, there was always a sadness and fear around her. She was in therapy for a long time, but I think she still had demons she hadn't fully healed from. Then she was violated and got pregnant from it. I only remember this because of my dad. He was so angry when he found out she was pregnant that he basically called her a bunch of names and said he wasn't raising the spawn of some evil a-hole like that, and he left my mom. I don't even think she wanted to keep the pregnancy, but being violated again and my dad leaving her pushed her over the edge. After she passed, and my dad realized I was aware of too much of what had happened, he told me I could never tell my brother. He also said I should find a way to forgive him for what he did. When I met his wife, the two of them acted like mom was selfish and didn't love us enough. That led to me and my dad fighting a lot. For whatever reason, they were never careful about talking about his wife's history either. When we were in a therapy session 2 weeks ago, they said it didn't feel like we became a family when they got married, and they felt bad because the youngest was being the most affected. They said there were zero reasons why we should be resisting becoming a family so much. That's when I brought up everything in front of the therapist, right there in the middle of the session. I told her about my dad's wife cheating, having a kid with someone else, apparently someone with a record who's now serving time, and how her kids hated her and her youngest for it. I mentioned how he hates her ex. Then I brought up my mom and what my dad did after her attack. I talked about the things they say to try to make my brother and me closer to my dad's wife. I also said a reason we never became a family is because two repulsive people keep trying to run away from all the crap they've done. After the therapy session, my dad's wife wanted me out of the house. My brother wanted to come with me, and now we're staying with our uncle. But my dad has shown up twice since then, trying to drag us back to therapy. My brother and I have both refused to go, and that's only made my dad and his wife angrier with me. They said I should be willing to face the consequences of airing the dirty laundry and that I was wrong to say all of that to the therapist. So, am I the a-hole? I'm asking because we were all there when I said it, and that might be wrong, especially with a 10-year-old hearing it, and my brother learning just how bad our dad really is. Not the a-hole. I'm so sorry you had to carry that burden of knowledge about your dad's and stepmom's true characters for so long on your own. I would encourage you to ask your uncle to help you get into individual therapy to help you process everything. As for your POS dad and his wife, screw them. Their actions are what brought them to this place, not yours. All of the kids have a right to know who their parents truly are. Be well, OB. Speculation on my part, OB, but your dad and stepmom sound like the type who think therapy is there to fix you kids and get you all in line, with no real implication for them. In reality, it's the parents who often need the most help in understanding themselves and shaping their own attitudes. You're so spot on that their desire to rug sweep and run from their problems is the massive issue here. I applaud your wisdom. I hope the so-called adults in this situation take some time to look in the mirror. Seems to me that your dad and stepmother went into therapy thinking they could use it to force the kids to become the happy blended family of their fantasy. It's all about surface appearances to others. Last story. Am I the a-hole for the role I played in getting me and my younger siblings removed from our parents? Me, 15 male, and my younger siblings, 10, 8, 7, and 5, were taken from our parents a couple of months ago. I have another sister, 16, and she was a big part of the reason. Ever since I can remember, she's always done things to hurt people. It didn't matter who it was. She'd lash out and hurt them. I never got hurt because I was about the same size and could push her off. But she hurt our parents and other kids before. And when we had younger siblings, it was the same. A few years ago, she was in the hospital for a while. And when she came back out, our parents sat me down and told me she had something called a conduct disorder. And it's why she is the way she is. They didn't explain it to me, but I looked it up and it fits my sister a lot. When she came home, we were given a caseworker who would come by to help my parents find resources and make sure things didn't get so bad that someone had to leave the house for good. She was never around during the bad stuff. Ever since my younger sister 10 started crawling, I had to protect her if my older sister tried to hurt her. Then it was my other siblings too. My younger siblings would sleep with me or in my room because they were afraid of our older sister. I don't feel like my parents ever did enough to keep my younger siblings safe. That was on me. I didn't mind doing it for a long time. Even when the caseworker would ask, I wouldn't be as open about how bad things were and how much stuff happened. Now I regret it, but I thought I could do a better job. My older sister is getting more dangerous, though. One time I got home late, and my siblings had locked themselves in my bedroom because they had a family laptop for schoolwork and my sister wanted it. My mom was trying to calm her down, but it wasn't working, and she was really losing it. When I got her away from my room, I got inside and locked the door again. I was able to comfort my siblings enough that they fell asleep. I think they were so afraid it just made them tired. Then I called the caseworker and told her it was getting worse, how bad things really were, and that we were locked in our room. She came to the house with someone else. They talked to each of us, and after a couple of days we were told to pack some stuff because we'd be staying with family.
My aunt and uncle took my younger siblings, and my grandparents took me. My grandparents couldn't cope with all of us, and my aunt and uncle didn't want me. Since we were removed, not only are my parents mad at me, and I'm mad at them too, but my aunt and uncle blame me because my siblings miss me. They feel like I put this big burden on everyone because I got us taken away from our parents. I try to see my siblings as much as I can, but I'm also dealing with stuff that's coming to light more. I'm in a really bad place mentally, and I'm not sleeping like I should be. But my aunt and uncle keep saying I'm not there for my siblings enough. And since I'm the reason we were taken away, I should be taking it more seriously. Am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments. If your aunt and uncle want you to see the siblings more, then they should have let you live there. You did the right thing. If your older sister had really hurt one of your younger siblings, you would always wish you had done exactly this. CPS might be able to help you with your mental health and other things right now. It might be worth reaching out to them and asking. You can also tell them if you think your aunt and uncle aren't fit to care for your siblings. They always want to keep children with family, but sometimes that's not what's best for the kids. OP, tell your aunt and uncle to take your older sister so you and your siblings can live together at home. Then they only have to worry about one kid. I'm sure that'll be no problem for them. You aren't the person who got y'all taken away. She was. You did the right thing. And screw your aunt and uncle. They didn't have to live in fear like y'all did. Why don't they just take your violent sister so you and your siblings can go home? I bet they'd say no. Your sister needs to be in a hospital. They said they would never, but I'm supposed to keep protecting my siblings so we can all be together. Only I can't be there all the time. I wasn't there the day I had to call. Scared the crap out of me.
Am I the a-hole for telling my wife the newborn is her responsibility and don't bother me about it when she wanted a nap? My wife and I are currently separated. We have to wait 12 months before we can officially divorce. She was supposed to move out but is having trouble finding a place nearby, so custody 50-50 will be easier for our 3 kids. The reason for the divorce? My wife's twin sister asked her to be their surrogate. Apparently they, my wife's sister-in-law and sister-in-law's husband, decided that since they're twins, she was the best option, and that in 3 years, she'd carry another baby for them. This was all planned for weeks behind my back. I'll admit they didn't start anything medically until after telling me. The telling me was basically my wife saying, "This is my body, my choice, and you have zero say. So either support me or we can divorce." It wasn't as blunt as that, but the longer version still ticks me off. I simply said if she did it, we would get divorced. Well, 4 months later, my wife tells me she's pregnant, and I filed 2 days later. Somehow this shocked everyone. Brother-in-law and sister-in-law did everything in their power to shame/guilt me into changing my mind, but I just told them she is their responsibility now. During the pregnancy, my wife acted like I should step up. Like I did during her previous pregnancies, I'd always got upset when I told her, "If you want 3 a.m. burgers, call your sister." For some reason, this made me the bad guy. She even called my mother to complain about me not stepping up, and then got insulted when my mom pointed out she's pregnant with another man's child. Here's the major issue. Sister-in-law was in a car accident 2 days before my wife had their baby. She's currently in intensive care, and her husband hasn't left her side. Since the accident, my wife has been acting like I should be the baby's father until brother-in-law and sister-in-law can take over. She called me a heartless monster when I wouldn't go with her to the delivery room, and has demanded I help with the baby during the night. I've told her multiple times, call the child's father. He's the parent, and he should be taking care of and bonding with his kid. She always makes excuses for him, so now I just ignore her. Today, I had a day off work and my wife said that since I wasn't doing anything for a few hours, I could watch the baby while she naps and showers. I said no. She started crying, saying she was sorry for going against me with a surrogacy, that she doesn't want to get divorced, and that she desperately needs me to take the baby for just an hour. Again, I said, "Why don't you call brother-in-law?" She didn't answer, just stared at me. So I said, "The newborn is your responsibility. Don't bother me about it again, and I suggest you start looking harder for a new place to live." She started screaming at me, calling me names, and saying karma will get me. Then she packed a bag and left with the baby. I'm guessing she's at her mother's because her family and her sister's husband have been calling me all day. Am I the a-hole for telling my wife the newborn is her responsibility and not to bother me? Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. You're an unwilling participant in all this. Why should you mop up the mess? Honestly, I just want the divorce to be over with and just raise my kids in peace. You did the right thing by divorcing. She chose the brother-in-law and sister-in-law over her husband and family. You have no need to show her sympathy or compassion. Not the a-hole. She literally told you either you accept it or leave, and you left. Now everyone is trying to make you feel bad? You're just doing what she asked. I wouldn't be handling this nearly as well. Unreal that anyone could do this to a partner. Nope. Her body, her choice, and her consequences. It's harsh, but it's true. And his body's his choice. So he can take his body for a nice relaxing day instead of babysitting his soon-to-be ex-wife, but not his child. Not the a-hole, but brother-in-law should be stepping up and taking care of his kid. If sister-in-law dies, he's probably gonna stick your ex with a baby. Well, since she's getting a divorce, brother-in-law can just marry her instead. Problem solved. Nah, now brother-in-law has 2 identical wives. Problem doubled. Next story. Am I the a-hole for being upset that I found out my wife was pregnant via social media? I'm 29 and she is 27. We've been together for 4 years, married for 2, both from the same hometown but currently living in a different city. She's at our hometown for a family event and I stayed back due to work. We've been trying to get pregnant for 3 months and now it's happened. The problem is the way I found out about it. My friend congratulated me by posting a screenshot in our group chat. A screenshot of an Instagram story posted by one of my wife's friends. The post showed my wife crying and hugging some of her friends with the caption, "You are going to be the best mom." I called her right away and she answered pretty quickly, saying, "I have news, babe." All I said was, "I know, you're pregnant." She replied, "Wow, babe, how did you know?" I just said, "Saw it on Insta. Didn't think to call me first, huh?" She said, "What? I didn't post anything." I responded, "Yeah, but your friends did." That's one way to find out I'm going to be a dad. Thanks. And I hung up. I was furious. She kept calling me, but I didn't answer until my sister called shortly after. My sister asked me what was going on because she just arrived at my in-laws' house, and everyone was freaking out, fighting, and my wife was locked up in her room. I told her what happened, and she said, "There's no way she would do that." I replied, "Well, she did." My sister said she was going to find out what was going on. A little later, my sister called me back and explained everything. At that point, I'd calmed down, thinking it was just a crappy friend who decided to post without permission. But my sister filled me in on the details. My wife was late on her period, and while hanging out with a friend, they thought, "What if you're already pregnant?" So they bought a bunch of pregnancy tests, all of which came out positive. They freaked out, told her parents, and then texted some friends in town to come over. From the time she found out to the time her friend posted on Instagram, only 2 hours had passed. My wife told at least 10 people before telling me. For the record, my sister told me that the argument going on when she arrived was because the other friends were upset with the one who posted on Instagram. Apparently, they all thought it was a crappy thing to do and were mad at her. But they also couldn't understand why my wife hadn't told me sooner. I finally called my wife and she was crying. She apologized and said she'd been planning to surprise me, which was why she hadn't told me yet. I was skeptical and pointed out that if she'd really wanted to surprise me, she wouldn't have been ready to tell me right when I called. She went silent, and I told her I needed some time to think. She yelled, saying I couldn't just walk away and that we needed to talk about it. I replied, "Why do we need to talk? So you can lie again? And I hung up. A ton of people have been messaging me, but I'm honestly exhausted. I don't know why, but this has drained me. I've cried randomly, which is unusual for me. I'm not a crier. This isn't supposed to be a huge deal, but it feels like I've been hit by a truck. My sister sent me a message that really stuck. Hey, I know this sucks and it was crappy of her, but don't let this ruin it for you. You're going to be a dad. You're going to be an amazing dad. This is great. The only thing keeping me going right now is knowing that I'm going to be a dad. I've dreamed of this, and all I hope is that this baby is healthy. I'll probably swallow my pride and pretend I'm fine just to avoid making my wife too emotional during the pregnancy. But I'll do that tomorrow. Tonight, I'll just sulk. That's some crappy behavior indeed from that one friend. Who the heck steals a pregnancy announcement? Also, she just took a pregnancy test. There is no way to know if that embryo will make it past the first trimester. That's why most people wait to announce. That friend is either the stupidest girl on the planet or she did it on purpose. Damn, that actually sucks. Only way I would be on your wife's side here is if she was planning on doing some kind of surprise to get your reaction, but you catching her on a lie pretty much ends that possibility. All I can say is that I hope your baby is healthy and good luck with fatherhood. See, I consider that too. Except anybody that's planning a surprise wouldn't tell another 9 people. And they would swear the friend that talked them into taking the pregnancy test to secrecy. But nope, she went on to tell 8 or 9 more people, including going to her parents. She texted people to come over because she was pregnant, but she couldn't text the baby's father? That's like every red flag wrapped up together. Not the a-hole. And my thing is, she was so excited, she told everyone, but you. Called her parents and random friends, but not you. Her husband, partner in life, and father. I would be hurt, and also it would make me question things. You should have been one of her first thoughts, not last. He wasn't even last. She never called him. He had to call her. Too much social media. There is a certain type of person. I choose not to share pictures of my little ones online as I want them to have control over what is shared. But they have ended up online because my sister-in-law couldn't just enjoy a family get-together without sharing it with her followers who most likely don't care. Then I have a different sister-in-law who is intent on creating an alternative life on social media where everything is perfect. So when my kids go to play with their cousins, they all have to have a forced photo shoot whenever they do anything. Just getting kids to look at a camera at the same time is nearly impossible when you have more than 1 under 5 in the mix. So it always leads to tears. I remember my nephew crying on his 2nd birthday because he just wanted to play, but he wasn't allowed to until his mom had got the perfect photo of him standing next to the perfectly coordinated balloons and tablecloth. People are stupid. Edit/mini update. I posted this into the Reddit void, thinking nothing of it, and woke up to thousands of comments and dozens of DMs. Holy smokes. Thank you so much for caring. Just to clarify a couple of things. 1. Do I think the baby might not be mine? Classic Reddit, lol. No chance she cheated. She works from home and we have some home security cameras inside the house, so that's not happening in our house. She does not do girls' nights. Her best friend in the city we live in is a female coworker of mine, and we hang out. The 3 of us, often. They text each other a lot, but almost never hang out one-on-one. And if they do, it's at our house with me in the next room. Also, my wife is the clingiest person alive. Like when I'm at work, she texts me every 30 minutes. And when I'm at home, she's always at least in the same room I'm in, if she isn't cuddling up to me. When we are out, she's always holding my arm or my hand. Literally does not leave my side. I honestly actually love it most of the time. I feel loved. But it is too much sometimes. And we had a fight about it weeks ago. I even questioned if this fight was the reason she didn't tell me right away. But it's probably not it. 2. About her friends. They're all very nice people. I've known them for a long time now. My sister is part of the friend group. And some of them have been friends since they were like 12. My wife is the only one that lives in a different city, so they always hang out a lot when she is in town. I cannot emphasize enough how out of character this whole situation is for her. She has many flaws like every other person, but being inconsiderate is not one of them. That's why I woke up in the middle of the night with a feeling like I'm actually completely wrong on this, because she would not do this on purpose. There is no way. So I sent her a text just saying that everything is fine and that I will drive the 4 hours down there to talk. She was actually awake and asked if she could call. She did and said she wanted to come home. I said that I was going over there to pick her up. She asked, "Are we okay?" I just said yes, and she started to cry. I told her that I'm very happy and I'm dying to see her, but we will need to talk about it. She calmed down a bit after that. That's when I opened the post again and saw all the comments. I asked for a day off and my boss was fine with it, so I'm actually going to my hometown right now. I will update when it's all settled. Last story. Would I be the a-hole if I disowned my parents after my mom refused to take care of me after I give birth? So I, 28 female, am 30 weeks pregnant with my first child and I'm about to move to another state. My mom has this thing where she takes care of my siblings when they give birth until they recover. She did it for my older sister and my brother's wife, so I thought she would do the same for me. But a week ago, she told me that she couldn't because it's too far away. We got into a fight about it, and I told her to get out of my house. Now we're not talking. Before you judge me and say that my mom isn't obligated to take care of me, let me explain that it's not about her taking care of me. It was never about that. I've always been the one child in the family that nobody really cares about. My parents claim they love and treat us all equally, but it's painfully obvious they love me a little less than the others. I even thought I might be adopted. But nope, I'm 100% theirs. It's always about how my other siblings are doing or how my mom and dad are suffering. But it's never about me. It has never been about me. My birthdays? They rarely celebrated them because my mom and dad either forgot or just threw something together at home and called it a party. My high school graduation party? Nope. My parents had already spent a lot of money on my big brother's college graduation party, so they couldn't afford one for me. They said they'd make it up to me, but did they? Take a wild guess. If you guessed no, congrats, you're right. They helped cover my siblings' wedding expenses, but when it came to my wedding, they said, "Since your husband comes from a good family, we don't need to help with expenses." Not my words, theirs. I've always been the one who listens to my mom and dad vent about their rough days, or who helps my mom because my older siblings have a lot of schoolwork, or my younger siblings are too young to help. They always tell me I'm a good daughter, but I'm never the one they brag about to their friends. I've done everything I could to make them proud, but my achievements have always been below my siblings. I've tried talking to them about how I feel multiple times, but all I ever got was a scolding about how I was getting spoiled. I hated my life until I finally moved out, but I never had the courage to let go of them completely thinking they would change. Well, my mom just proved me wrong. Mind you, my older sister lives across the ocean, but my mom decided that taking a 10+ hour flight to another continent twice wasn't too hard. Yet suddenly, a 4-hour car ride to my house is too much? Especially when I'm in a place where I don't know anyone except my husband. I'm so tired of being put below everyone else. I've decided I'll make things right between us before I leave because I don't want to end things on a bad note. But once I'm settled in my new house, I'm cutting all contact. I don't have the energy to deal with this anymore. Besides, I have my amazing husband with me, and we're building a family where I'll be loved and appreciated for who I am. Note, I'm the third out of 5 children. Not the a-hole. Tell her you can't keep in touch. It is too far away. It's not just about OP's mom refusing to help. It's about a lifetime of feeling neglected and undervalued. Cutting contact is a form of self-care in this case. It sounds like OP been trying to earn their approval her entire life, and they've consistently let her down. She deserves to feel loved and supported, especially during such a vulnerable time in her life. Not the a-hole. Yes, I agree with you. Make nice with your mom while you're visiting this time, and minimize contact when you get back to your own home. It could be that your mother wants you to beg and plead. "Oh, mommy, pretty please. Come help me. I need you. But my reaction is, F that game playing. Put your energy on your husband and build a new support network where y'all live now. Not the a-hole. Put them on a strict information diet. Stay off socials. Inform your husband and his family that you want nothing posted on social media. Do not let them know when the baby is born or when you go into labor. Do not answer the phone, respond to email, texts, etc. Put them on a ban list too at the hospital if you have to. Gather more evidence of them singling you out. Then when asked by others, you give them the full story. Maybe shame will cure them. Not the a-hole. It sounds like your parents have taken you for granted, and now they're doing the same thing to your child? No. Stand proud of your decision. The people you allow in your child's life should be people who value them.